Welcome. Today's video lesson is the COMP-10018 question. In our work on our work with users and groups, we created a shared directory to be used by a group. We made the permissions there 770. 7 for the owner, who was root. 7 for every member of the group. And 0 for everybody else. So root can do whatever they want in the directory. Every member of the group can do whatever they want in the directory. Nobody outside the group or root can do anything else. But we didn't just make it 770. We did 2770. What's the 2? And why did we do it? Well, the first question, easier to answer. What's the 2? The 2 sets the set group ID bit. Next question is why? The why is because when the set group ID bit is on, any file created in that directory will not have the group of the current user. It will have the group of the parent directory. Just what we want for our folder that's going to be shared by our group. I'm going to walk through an example that will hopefully illustrate this. If we're going to work with groups, we need a group. Fair enough. And if we're going to create a group, we're going to need users to go in it. Now I'm logged on to W01. Sorry for that little blip. I'm logged on to W01. As root, you can see. Ignore this little foo. I was playing around. I need 2 users. Now, we don't want one of those users to be root. We already have Alice as a user on W01. I've created a second user, Bob, on W01. We need to make a group for them to live in, or for them to share. So I'm going to call the group workers. First step is to create the group. Group add workers. Now we need to put Alice and Bob into workers. And we can do that with gpassword. Minus A for add, Alice, to what group? Workers. And we also want to add Bob to workers. We can check that with the ID command. ID Alice. There we see Alice is both in her own user private group and in workers. ID Bob. Bob's in his user private group. Bob's in workers. Now as root, I want to create a directory for the workers to share. So I'm going to do mkdir minus p/share workers. Let's take a look at that workers directory. ls-l/share. So there's our workers directory. Owned by root, group of root. root has read, write, X. The group has read and X. And everybody else, all the regular users, have read and execute only. So everybody in the world can look and see what's in here, access files, but not make or delete or rename files. If this group's going to be used by, if this group's going to be used by the workers group, we want to change this. We can still have it owned by root, that's fine, even makes sense. But we want to change the group to workers. And we do that with the chown command. I know you're saying, but James, chown is change ownership. Yes, but it can also change ownership and group at the same time. So we're going to keep the owner at root, and the colon says next word is the group. What do we want to change? We want to change /share /workers. Now if we take a look, we'll see that the owner is still root. The group is workers. Root can do whatever they want. Workers can read and execute. The rest of the world can read and execute. Well, that's not exactly what we want. We want workers to be able to do whatever they want in that directory. Create files, delete files. They're all in the same group. They trust each other. And the rest of the world, we want them to keep their hands and eyes out of our workers directory. No changes, no reading. Don't even list the files. So we want root to have full access. Root's root. They're going to have access anyways. So root, workers should have full access to. Everybody else, nothing. So that sounds to me like chmod. 7 for root, 7 for workers, nothing for anybody else, /share workers. Now when we look, we see root's got everything, workers has everything. Regular users outside of workers, nothing. Let's test this out. Here, I'm going to make 2 windows. I'm going to make my first window as Alice. And I'm going to make a second window here. Both of these a little shorter so they both fit. Nice and neat. Okay. I want an Alice window and a Bob window. Well, how do I get logged on as Bob? I could do SU Bob, or I'm going to do the way that makes it 100% completely a Bob session, just like Bob logged in over SSH. How am I going to do that? I'm going to log in to the local host as Bob over SSH. Bob at localhost. All right, the window even changes. That's pretty slick. So I've got Bob and Alice. Let's start with Alice. Alice wants to make a file in the workers directory. Hi, from Alice. We can go over here in the root window, and we'll check out ls minus l slash share. Whoop, what did I do wrong? Oh, silly me. I put it in her home directory. That's not very illustrative. Oh, it's been a long day. Permission denied. Okay, we discovered an interesting fact about groups and sessions. You only get your group credentials when you log on. Alice was already logged on when she was added into the workers group. So in order to get Alice in the workers group, I need a fresh Alice log on. I got all my nice windows open here. I don't want to shut everything down, log off as Alice, log back on. I'm going to use the same trick for Alice I just used for Bob. Whoops. Now if I try this, not to F1, to share workers F1. Now Alice can do it because she's got the right group membership. And all that changed was she logged on. So if you've been creating groups and adding members to groups, and somebody says, well, I don't have access, well, log off and log back on. Okay. So Alice just created the file. We should be able to look here. There it is. Owned by Alice. Group of Alice. Read, write, nothing. It's interesting. Now Bob and Alice are co-workers. They're both part of the workers team. And the agreement is that anything we put in workers is a shared document. Anybody who needs to update it can. So Bob's browsing around and he has a look in share workers. And he goes, oh, F1, I wonder what that is. I'll take a look at it. Wow, I want to greet everybody too. So I'm going to edit that file. So instead of catting it, I'm going to edit it. Uh-oh. Because I wanted to put and Bob. But you see, look what I get down at the bottom here. Warning, changing a read-only file. Well, I can't change it. Why can't I change it? It's in the shared directory. Oh, look at the permissions on F1. Alice can read and write it. The group can read and write it. Everybody else can just read it. But what's the group of the file? It's Alice. We want the group to be workers so that anybody in the workers group can change it. That'll make Bob's life better. We do that with chown. Oh, I forgot the numbers. Here's 770. Oh, that's a chamad. What am I thinking? Like I said, please forget the chown stuff. Let's do chown the right way. Chown. Alice still owns the file. The group is going to be workers. And the file we're changing ownership on is share workers F1. Now when we do our long listing, we'll see that the group of the file is workers. And now if Bob goes to edit it, no error message. There are the changes. Well, that's all well and good. There we go. That black line was getting on my nerves. That's all well and good. Alice creates the file and then does a chown on it to change the group. Well, Alice might forget to do that sometimes. I know I would. I'd forget to do it a lot of the time. Plus, even if Alice remembers, it's a whole other step she has to do every time she creates a file. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a way, anytime something was created in this workers folder, it automatically got the group workers? I think it would. We can do that with the set group ID bit. If I do a, let's look at the permissions on share workers directory. Read write X, read write X. Now I'm going to do the mythical chamad 2770. Oh, I got so excited about seeing the results, I forgot the directory. Now, read write S. It used to be read write X. That S means the set group ID bit is on. Let's see what happens when Alice creates a file now. So this time, she knows Bob is on her team. So she's going to say, hi from Alice and Bob. And that's going to go in F2. Oh my. She spelt Bob's name wrong. It says, hi from Alice and Bib. Well, Bob notices that and says, well, mistakes happen to all of us. I'm going to change that. Let's go fix that. F2. Hi from Alice and Bob. And if we take a look, sure enough, it changed. Wasn't that a lot easier than having to do the chown on the file? That's why we set 2770. You get a chance to practice this again when we do our NFS lab. I mentioned NFS, I should tell you what it is. NFS is Network File System, and it's like shared folders or shared published directories in Windows for Unix. But it came first. So sharing a drive in Windows is really like NFS, because NFS was around long before the Windows stuff. Right?